All right. So thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. Happy Friday. I am your favorite blue-haired master of ceremonies, Courtney Smith, the Executive Marketing Manager at Visible Body. And today I am joined by two of my colleagues, Kara Kinstrom and Rachel Buchanan from the VB Education team. So now today's topic might be a little familiar to a lot of you, but since the semester is just starting, for a lot of people, we thought it might be helpful if we had a little bit of a refresher on how to use our pre-made courses in courseware. So to start things off, we are actually going to watch a very short video that Lori Levins, our Senior Director of Curriculum Products, did. And then we are going to bring things back and then take a deeper dive into things, and Kara will be sharing her screen for that. Now, throughout the webinar, we will be taking questions, and as you think of them, we would like you to post them in the chat so we can keep track of them and answer all of them. And if for whatever reason you need to jump off the Zoom or you want to watch this presentation again, I will be sending you a recording tomorrow via email, so keep an eye out for that. You can also check out our YouTube channel. We post all of our webinars and our office sessions there. And I am going to actually post the links to both the webinars and the office hours into the chat right now. And okay, so that is in there. And now that I have said pretty much everything that I wanted to say, I am going to share my screen and cue up the video. Now, if anybody has trouble hearing or seeing my screen, please let me know in the chat. But we should be good to go. And here we go.
Hi, everybody. This is Lori Levins from Visible Body. And today we're going to talk through how you add a course to courseware and how you assign due dates and publish those assignments for your students. So here I am on the Visible Body course page, and I'm going to add the Anatomy and Physiology course to my account in courseware. So you're going to see this window come up, and you can name this course anything you like. We've given the prefix sample Visible Body course, but you can delete that and call it copy, and I'll just name that here. Now what you're going to do here is pick the start date of your semester. So today is the 24th. I know you probably haven't started your semester today, but for the sake of the assignments, you might want to say that this online course is going to start today. And then you can say when you want your first assignment due date to be. And that's because there's a certain cadence in the course already for the due dates, and we'll just apply that cadence for you. So if every assignment is due every day or two, that cadence will say, we'll start on the 26th, and that cadence will follow. And I'm going to show you how you can edit that anyway later. So I'm going to go ahead and save, and then you'll see that this course is populating right here, Anatomy and Physiology copy for demo. So that's the name I'm giving that course today. So here you can see that my course is populated. So I'm going to go ahead and open that course. You can see that there are all the different units, and for every unit there are a bunch of assignments and graded quizzes and lab activities. Now I'm opening the skeletal system unit because we'll just use this as a model. You'll see here that there are some due dates, that these are now going to be released to the student on the 26th and due the same day. And we're going to show you how you can change this on an assignment by assignment basis, and how you can also do it in bulk. So you'll see this little gray icon here, and this means that nothing is published yet. So when you copy a course, and even when you create a course from scratch, nothing's going to be available to your students yet. So let's take a look and see how we do that. So this first module is some assignments and some practice quizzes. So let's say that you like everything that's here, the description works for you, and all the assignments work for you. Let's go ahead and change the due date and publish it. So down here at the bottom, you'll see there's an edit button. So here I am. I can go and change the due date right here. I'm going to make this due, instead of April 26th, I want my students to complete this by the 17th. And I'm going to delay the release because maybe I don't want them to have it now. I don't want them to get it until April 1st. So you can go ahead and set that just like that. And then You can save a draft if you're not ready to publish, or you can publish, and you can decide here to send an email notification to all your students. So all the email addresses in your roster will get an email saying this assignment's been published if you choose, or you can go ahead and just publish it. And then the student will note in their view of courseware, in the assignments, there'll be a red circle and the number of assignments that are due since they last logged in. So they'll see it no matter what, but you can choose to email them or not. So I'll go ahead and publish. And then we'll just say, are you sure? And then you have another opportunity to send an email to the students here if you'd like. And you can hit OK. And then you got confirmation here that it's been published. And you can go back and you'll see that instead of that gray icon, you've got a green publish icon. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how our bulk functionality works. So let's say you wanted all of the assignments in this particular module due on the same day and published on the same day. So what you do is go up here to our bulk editing feature and you just open that up. And you're going to select the folders or assignments you want to bulk edit. So let's go back into our skeletal system folder. And let's say that you want to select, you can actually select the whole thing. And then this one's already published, this top one, so you can unselect it. You can say, you know, I want them to do those modules and practice quizzes by the 17th, and then I'm going to give them the rest of the week of the following week to do the rest of these activities. So these are the things that I want to change. So let's go to assignment dates. Let's go to the release date first. So I'm going to make these available to my students. Let's see. The first module that we said is due the 17th. So I am going to give the students, I think I'll release this on the 17th, and I'll pick the time here, let's say at noon. And that way, that Friday, they're ready to now move on to the next. So now we're going to edit the due date. You get some options here. So let's edit the due date. And we'll say, okay, they're going to start on the 17th, and I'm going to give them to the, let's give them to the 28th for the rest. And we can also make that due at noon. And then you can apply those. And we're great. Now we have confirmation. The due dates and release dates have been changed. So what do we want to do next? We're going to go ahead and publish that. And we're going to say, great. And you have that opportunity to send the email to the students or not. Let's check it here, and then we'll hit publish. So now you're all done, and you can return to your course. So that's how you do it. We hope it's really simple and easy to follow, and please let us know if you have any other questions on your journey. Thank you.
Okay. And there we have it. I'm looking in the chat right now, and I just saw that you said that this is fairly fuzzy. I'm actually going to send out a link to that same presentation so you can view it on your screen along with the email tomorrow. It should be nice and clear for you then. I'm so sorry about that. So now I think Kara, if you might share your screen with us. And I think a good place to start would be the Premade Courses page on the website. So if anybody doesn't know, we have a ton of Premade courses already on our website, on our courses page, that are all correlated to different types of textbooks and topics.
Are you guys all able to see my screen now, hopefully?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So when you log into your courseware account, there is this Premade Courses link right up here at the top. And that will take you to that page that Lori was on in the video where she was able to find the courses. So you can kind of browse by the different courses. You can go down. I will preface this with, and Rachel can attest to this, this is not all that we have. We have a ton of other Premade courses. So if you're not seeing the book that you use on this page, please feel free to reach out to your rep. We can, we have a team course builder who builds some of these out for us. So she might be able to build it, but there's a good chance that we already have it. We've got quite a few in there. So If you don't see it here, we've tried to put, the most popular ones up here, but if you don't see it, just ask, please. It looked like there was a question about editing a course from fall 20 for a different course. So I'm going to assume, do you mean like using the same course for a course in spring as the content that you did in the fall? Is that what I'm understanding that to mean? Okay, well, I'm going to go under that assumption okay, yeah, using the same course again in the spring. Okay, so say this, and I have a mess of course page here. I have a lot of courses I've been building for people. So say this was your course from the fall. If you go over to this right arrow over here and hit that, you can actually make a copy of the course. So this is going to carry over all the content. And then you'll see when I make a copy, so you can rename it to your spring course, right? Here, so if your start date for the spring, oh, someone has a little kitty visitor. So if your start date for the spring is, February 8th, you can go ahead and pop that in there. And then you can also populate your first assignment due date. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to, as close as it possibly can, replicate the timing in between your assignments. So for instance, if you had all of your assignments due in your fall course on a Friday, it's going to make those same changes for the spring course using your start date and your first assignment date, right? So maybe I started on February 8th, and I'm going to make my first assignment due on February 12th. So it's going to do as close as possible a replication of the dates that you had. So when you get in there, you may have to kind of go back and adjust some of those dates just a little bit, but it's going to do as close as it can, right? So that's how you would do it. And then when you do that, it's going to copy over all the same content. It's going to be like adding that course all over again. So you'd still have to go back and publish stuff, like Lori showed you in the video, but most of the dates would be at least fairly close. And again, you could just kind of look at those as you pop open all those folders. So you may have to adjust a few, but so yeah, that's the way that you could copy over. It would pull over all the same content, and then you just, start fresh with new students. Does that answer the question? It's, do you have to copy, or can you just edit it with the spring courses? Well, it would be better to copy it and start new, because then you don't have to worry about having all the students from the fall in that same course. So that's why we say it's better to just make a copy of it. And then, you can still make any changes if you decide you want to make changes after you copy it, but at least then you'd have a fresh slate for, for any new students that enter.
Okay, we have another question here. Is there a way to see a student view of what you publish? And the answer is yes.
Yes, there is. So for instance, and I'm going to use this course as my example, I don't know that I have anything published in here. So let's just go ahead and publish a couple things so you can see. I'm just going to go ahead and bulk publish these two really quick here. Just give it a due date of next Friday, just to give you an example. So I'm going to publish these. Okay. Now up here at the top, there's this little student preview button. If you select that, you're going to see what your students can see. So you'll see I only publish those first two chapters. So that's all that they're seeing. Now, if you had made it so the availability date or the release date when they were able to see it was not until after this date, it would just show, but it would be grayed out. So they can see that it's going to be there, but they don't have access to it. So hopefully that gives you an idea of that. And then you can kind of just see, they basically have the same layout as you do. They just obviously don't have the quiz bank or anything like that. And they can't create assignments, but they've got the same My Apps, They can see their grades, they can see your course resources, all that good stuff. Okay. Hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah, it looks like.
I'm seeing, can I make a demo login so I can see what my students are seeing when they log in? Yeah, you absolutely can. In fact, that I've had instructors email me their courses just to test it out to make sure. So when you're in your course, the way that you invite your students is you go to this invite people link, and then you just copy it and email it to them or paste it into your LMS. So what you could do is you could use this link to try to register yourself, you know, if you were to use your personal email address, right? Because then it's not going to recognize you as an instructor. So you could do that. And then when the students log in, and you would have this option too, there is the option to start a 2-week trial. So you get basically the course content, you know, is available to you for those 2 weeks without you having to pay. So I have a lot of instructors that send that link to themselves just so they can kind of test it out and see what's happening. Or like I said, I've had them send it to me and say, hey, you know, can you join my course so I can see what it looks like, you know, when a student pops up on the roster or the gradebook. So yep, you can absolutely send that to yourself.
Just make sure you log out of your account before you click the link to join, or else it'll just pick up your instructor account.
Yeah, that's a good point. When I do it, I usually go to another browser. Like I'm using Chrome right now. If I want to log in with my student account, I'll go to a different browser. I'll go to Safari or something, so it doesn't automatically recognize, you know, my instructor account. And then if you wanted to get rid of yourself after you tested it out, you can just go into the roster. And I don't have any students in here, but it gives you the option to drop the students. So you could just drop yourself so your students aren't looking at it and thinking, why did you put yourself in the course? Or who's this random Kara person? Why is she in your course, right? So yeah. For that question, any other questions?
Don't be shy, everybody. We have a whole half hour.
Yeah.
Not that we have to use it, but
Yeah.
we are here to answer any questions that you have about starting new courses, editing courses. Let's see. Does it link to the Blackboard gradebook?
That's a good question. So we don't have the ability yet to link to the Blackboard gradebook. However, we do have a pretty simple solution there. When you're in your gradebook, and I'll go to this, and I apologize, I don't have any grades in here because this isn't my course, but you would have your student names and grades and up here and everything. Up here in the top right-hand corner is this Export CSV button. If you click that, it's going to give you the option to choose from the most common LMS that we hear about. If you choose that Blackboard option there, it's going to put the grades into a format that makes it fairly simple just to import it into your Blackboard gradebook. So that's the workaround that we have right now for that. Okay.
We have another question from Jennifer. What is in the Courses Resource tab?
The Course Resources tab is the good question. So this is for you to add your own stuff. So for instance, if you have a syllabus or if you have any, you know, additional materials that you want to add there, you can do it there. If it's something specific to a certain chapter or a certain week that you're covering in the, you know, in the course, you can also add it in. For instance, if you had, you know, something, you know, like specific to embryology, you can also add things in within that path, right? So within your learning management path, you just go down here and you can upload a file or link to a URL. But that Course Resources is for general course information. So syllabus, things like that.
Right. We have another question from Anne. I am just starting up my course with Visible Body. Do you have a pre-made module that would introduce them
Yes.
to Visible Body? And yes, we do.
So we usually put this very first chapter, getting started with Visible Body Courseware and the apps, within every course that we pre-built. And what it is it's a super quick walkthrough, and this is literally just a PDF document, but it walks them through: how do you log on? How do you take an assignment? How do you take a quiz? How do I download my apps? So it's all the basics. And then there is just a short little, I think it's like 5-question quiz, just to kind of make sure that they read through it. I always tell people to keep this in there, because it's going to cut down on a lot of the questions that the students are going to ask you, and you don't want those questions. So let them go ahead and come here and see, because that answers quite a bit of what they're going to do. And if you don't have this in the course that you have built, let us know, and we can definitely send you, or you could, pull it from one of the sample courses and copy it over, and I can show you how to do that if you need to.
Okay.
Sorry, Courtney, I lost track of the question, so I'm going to let
No,
you.
no, I've got your back. That's why I'm here. All right. So from Abby, is there a way to see how many times the student has visited the assignment or track views?
So with the assignments, not yet. It's something that we're looking into, some sort of like time on task, or how many times have they accessed. But at this point, with the assignments, no. With the quizzes, yes. You can definitely tell, if they went in and took the quiz, and, you can give them a certain number of attempts, and all that. But for the individual assignments, it's something that I think is in the works, but not yet. And Rachel, please feel free to chime in too.
Okay. Now, if that's the same thing I've heard, is that it's a very common request, and so it's something we're looking to add.
All right. I have a couple of questions here. So from Kimberly, can you show how to edit content? I am teaching high schoolers, and there will be some items that I won't go into as much detail. Or can you share a link to a video I can watch on how to edit items, quizzes, quiz questions, etc. I can share that video in the email, but Kara, if you want to maybe go through it real quick.
Just a couple basics here, Kimberly. And again, if you want help with this, I mean, we can, your rep, or I mean, I can stay on longer too, whatever. So when you're within the course, so say you're within forearm and hand. Oh, that's a bad example because there's not a lot in there. Let's see. This, oh, you know what? This is because I just built this course for somebody and it's pretty basic. Hang on. Let's go to another course where we might see, we'll just go into our sample course. So if you, for instance, don't want to do that are in here, keep in mind that if it's not published, your students don't see it. So you can keep it in there and just not publish it. And that's one way. If you want to move stuff around, you can just drag it and drop it. I usually say keep it in there even if you're not sure you're going to use it, because you never know if you might change your mind later, you might want to use it. And again, they're not going to see it unless it's published. So they're, you can just not publish it. The assignments that you can also go into any of the assignments, and let's just go into, I'm trying to think of, so when you get into the assignment, like this is saying like by the end of this assignment, will you be able to identify? So this is taking them to these 2 chapters within the A and P app. If you want them to not go to one of those, like maybe you just want them to do the axial skeleton in this chapter and you don't want to confuse them by whatever, you can do that. So you can go to edit and you can change what's in the box. So you can specify specific directions if you want to tell them, hey, when you're in this chapter, stop it, whatever, or, make sure you pay special attention to whatever. So you can do that there. And then when you go to edit assignment content, that's where you can take out the different chapters, right? So right now it's got the one within 7 that's selected, and then the one within 10. So if you decided, you know, I don't want them to do this one, you can just take that out, and then you hit continue, and then it would just be that one that they're doing. Hopefully that is a little bit of a basic help there. Rachel, do you anything else to add there? And then Courtney can definitely show you or send some of the videos and stuff that we have on that. And if you have further questions, definitely let us know. Does draft go away? Yes. So that's a good question. So in all of these assignments, when you're in them, they all say draft because they have not been published. So once you publish it, that draft will go away.
And it looks like Anne had a follow-up to her question about the introductory kind of assignments that come with all of the courses. So it looks like she is making her own course. So how would she add that introductory assignment to it?
So the best way would be to go to one of the pre-made courses that we have, that you could go to one of the pre-made courses and download it. And then once you get in there, and I'll just go back to this as an example. So that's the chapter that you want to copy over, right? You can go to this button and you can say copy folder, and that's going to copy the contents of that whole folder. So that whole getting started with Visibility Courseware in the apps, so the assignment and the quiz. You're going to hit copy folder, and it's going to say, okay, what course do you want to take it to? So that's where you would select, and yours is not going to look like mine with all this, but that's where you would select the course that you're building and put it in there. And you'll see when I put it in there, it may end up, and this one already had it when I go back there, but when I go to this copy, you'll see in this case, it duplicated it, it put at the beginning. So you can always just delete one of these because it's a duplicate. Or sometimes, again, it'll show up somewhere at the bottom and you may have to drag it up, right? But that's the easiest way. If you get stuck, definitely let us know because we can happily send you a pre-made course. But yeah, it's going to be in the majority of those pre-made courses that we have on this page. So you could just add one of those, take a look, copy over that, whatever else, maybe you'll see something else interesting that you want to copy over, and then you just can copy, the individual folders over.
We also have a folder that lists all of our lab activities. And so if you wanted to put lab activities within your course, just contact your rep and they can send you that folder that you can then copy and put in your course.
Yes. If you can't find something, definitely ask us because chances are it's come up before. Will all pre-made courses be available to me when I sign in under? So yeah, the pre-made courses, you don't have to sign. So you'll sign into your courseware account. This is just going to link you to that page of what we have. So again, this is what we have up here. If there's another title that you're looking for or a specific course that's not listed here, let us know. We've, kind of put some of the basic ones up here, but if you're teaching something else or you're using a different book that's, not listed here, definitely let us know because we have a bunch that we just can't put them all on the web page. Otherwise, it would be a really, really, really messy web page, and that would be a nightmare.
We've got over 124.
Yeah, it would just be endless scrolling.
Yeah, and that would be a nightmare for poor Courtney and her team trying to get them all on one page.
Trying to wrangle that all in.
That doesn't sound fun.
No, it wouldn't be.
Okay. I think you were scrolling in the chat box and I wasn't paying attention. So if I missed any, let me know. I
think we've hit on everything so far. Does anybody have any other questions? Can you say more about the lab activities folder?
Sure. And that, I don't know if I have it in here. Let me see if I have. This is where you see what a mess. Oh, there it is. So this is the folder that Rachel was talking about. And this is basically all of the labs that we have. So the labs that we have either come from our A&P app or they come from our Atlas app. And so when you click on this, you'll see all the different labs that we have. For these are within Atlas, and then these are the ones that are within A&P.
And these are fillable, so the students can download them and type in them and then email them back to you as an assignment.
Yes.
And I will say that coming very soon, which will make a lot of people very happy, we have or we are in the process of pushing live an update that will make all of these labs auto-graded. So so that'll take a lot of the work off of your hands, and all of those grades will be automatically reported to the gradebook. That is not live yet, but it is coming very, very soon, and we are very excited to give it to you guys.
Yes.
So, yes, so stay tuned.
Let's see. Do students only have access to what I publish, or can they navigate through the apps and browse? Yes, they can absolutely. So do you remember when you were up here in this student preview? That's what they see, and they don't see anything in here because I haven't published anything. However, the students have this My Apps tab when they log in. So this is going to give them access to all of the apps, and they can launch them right here. So they'll see what's in your learning path, what you've assigned them to do. But if they want to go in and spend more time playing around in the apps, they absolutely can. You can launch them all from here. You just click and it opens in a different window. They also, once they've paid for courseware, the downloads are not in the free trial, but once they've paid or entered their access code or however, they also have a mobile download. So you get one mobile download of each of the apps. So one for Alice, one for A&P, and they can put that on their phone, or if they have an iPad or a tablet or something like that, they can put that there so they can study on the go. Do the students have access to AR on their device? So the AR is in the Atlas app, and AR obviously works only on a mobile device, right? So that's where these mobile apps come into play. They would scroll down and you'll see that they have Atlas, and they can share that for their iPhone, iPad, or for an Android device. Just share that link. These are unique credentials. Don't write down mine because it won't work for you. I've already used them. But each person will have their own unique credentials there, and that's how they download those apps. So yes, they do have access to the AR on their mobile device. Any other questions? What did I miss, Courtney and Rachel?
You haven't missed anything.
Ooh, is there a support link?
Yes.
Oh, yes. This is something that I have bookmarked because I use it on a daily basis. But if you go to, and I'm just going to open up a new tab, it's support, and it's going to come up for me, support@visiblebody.com, support.visiblebody.com. So I love this page. I use it multiple times a day. So we've got, common questions about permissions, buying, and everything. And then down here, there's product support for all of the apps. So Atlas, Muscle Premium, A&P, and then also for Visible Body Courseware. So if you go to that courseware support page, you'll see there's general, like downloading the apps. I can't get the Zoom to work. What do I do for this? And then there's specific instructor things. So creating assignments, quizzes, editing content, all sorts of stuff in here. And there's also a student tab. So, how do students join a course? How do I take a quiz? And again, a lot of this is covered in that first little chapter that we do, that getting started course. So they'll see a lot of that, but they can always refer back to this as well.
And a lot of these have little videos in it, so that's very visually engaging for the students and to walk through. It's not just text to read.
Yeah, so this doesn't have an actual video, but a lot of them will have actual screenshots and stuff, you know, like Rachel said, videos. So the students are going to know exactly what they're going to see. So this is going to walk them through exactly how they're going to create that.
If you get really stuck, I recommend reaching out to your rep.
Yeah.
We do have an email. It's support@visiblebody.com
Yep.
that you can email our support. But if it's something like how do you do something, your rep is really the best person to contact.
Yes. Do students their name and password? You don't actually need a you don't need a username and password to sign into the support site. It's just on our webpage. It's open. So you don't need to sign in for that. But if they email the support team for help, they may need to, you know, supply, you know, the email address that they signed up with if it's not the email address that they're emailing from.
So the email address for support is support@visiblebody.com. And I will also include that in the emails that I'm going to be sending email with multiple things in it that will also include that that email address, which I just put into the chat as well. And our support team is wonderful and very quick. So you know, you'll you know, 9 times out of 10 you will hear back from somebody, you know, that day, if not, you know, pretty much within the hour.
And you can always email your rep as well if it's, you know, sometimes basic questions we can answer, as long as it's not something on the back end, because we don't really have access to that. But, you know, I mean, some questions, you know, we can answer pretty quickly too.
Do we have any other questions? These have all been great so far.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. And if y'all have questions as you dig in further, you know, don't hesitate to reach out to your rep, and we're happy to help. All right.
All right. Well,
We're wrapping up here.
Yeah, it looks like.
Well, thank you all so much for joining. So Courtney, I'm sure you have stuff you're going to send out. Do you want to tell everyone what you're going to send out, and then?
Yep. So I am going to send an email tomorrow that has a recording of this presentation. I'm also going to send a link to the short presentation that we watched at the beginning, that sort of 5-minute video that kind of did a, you know, kind of like a crash course into courses. And I'm going to also give you guys the website link to our courses page, our support site, so you guys can feel free to poke around there, and the email address that you can contact if you know, if you're having any issues. But also, again, feel free to contact your rep. And actually, it looks like Angie has a question about who her rep is, so she can discuss courseware.
Yeah, Angie, we will look and see, and we will have your rep get in touch with you.
Yes,
unless Rachel knows offhand. I don't.
Unless Angie could put what state she's in the.
Yeah, Angie. If you,
yeah, that would be the fastest way.
Yeah, your state or school or.
Indiana.
Indiana. Oh, good question.
I know that used to be Pam.
Yeah. Let us look and see. And we will have that rep reach out to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In fact, I will do that right after this call. Okay.
I'm actually on it. So
Awesome. She's on it.
I'm on it.
She's on it. There we go.
All right. Well, again, thank you all so much for joining. I guess we'll wrap up about 15 minutes early. So keep an eye out for the email that I'm going to be sending you. There's going to be a lot of stuff in there. And again, any questions, just give us a shout. We are super happy to help. And otherwise, thanks again for joining and have a wonderful weekend. So,
Thanks, everyone.
bye, everybody.
Bye.